Hello, and thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to jump into an interview hosted by Van Jones, where he speaks to multiple Black voters. It seems the Democrats have been stating that a lot of people from 2024 are left with buyer's remorse. So we're going to delve into it. Let's check it out. Hello again, and thank you so much for joining me today on the Community Ledger. Again, my name is Andrea Banu. If you have not already, please go ahead and take this moment to smash that subscribe button. Again, like I said before, I want to get all warm and cozy and cuddled up with that algorithm. And so, like I stated above the intro, we are going to delve into whether or not Black people have buyer's remorse. It's been all over social media as well as on television. Democrats are saying a lot of people that voted for Trump in 2024 are feeling resentment, feeling regret for making that decision. And so Van Jones wanted to sit with a few people and hear them out. So let's get into it.
You do well.
And here we are in South Carolina with 3 Trump voters. You weren't always a Republican.
No, actually, I come from a family that was like super Democratic. My first time voting, I voted Democrat. I voted for Joe Biden.
What about Trump appealed to you?
Am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you can.
I mean, part of it is he's an asshole. I like authenticity.
You voted for Obama then you voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, but 2020 you voted for Donald Trump. What made the change?
I began listening to someone, her name is Candace Owens, and I read her book, and it just opened my eyes to maybe he's not this person that I have been led to believe that he was.
So you voted against Trump in 2016,
Yes.
but then in 2020 you voted for him?
Absolutely.
Why?
I saw how things were going during his first term, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I was pleased with what was happening. I saw the economy getting better. I saw country relations in certain countries getting better.
What are some things that he's doing that you do like?
For me, I like the border. I just don't like the idea of someone coming here illegally and getting benefits that can serve my community. So that's the reason why I support him on that border policy.
When you think about the border, you think about people coming here who are getting more help than people who live here and who were born here.
Yeah, and I got that perspective not from news channels. I got it from social media. TikTok is like a holy grail. We even see it with the things that we learn about the United States government. Outside of the United States, people are showing Americans, hey, look at what's going on. Do y'all know that your government is doing this? Have you seen this? Have you looked at it from this perspective?
You know, people, when they think about a Trump voter, they usually think about like a white dude with like a red hat on and a pickup truck. And y'all are not that at all. So Donald Trump's team went in, they took down Harriet Tubman's picture for a quick minute. They're trying to like knock out the Black museums. What does that have to do with the price of eggs, and how does that impact you?
In some ways, it's a slap in the face. In other ways, I don't care. I care more about how I'm going to take care of my children.
I don't think the average American cares about that. I know I am sick and tired of seeing Black people sit there and complain about something, but not taking action and steps to actually try to change things in an appropriate manner.
Under the Trump and Biden administration, they came to certain agreements with police departments to be less brutal toward the Black community. Trump has now ended all that. How does that help the Black community?
I have a lot of issues with police reform and just with how police officers are treated as a whole. My husband is currently going through the process to become a police officer. The amount of hatred that cops get, even the best ones, I think has become a huge problem, because it has been, especially around election times, when it definitely comes out of like, oh no, the cops are bad, the cops hate you because you're Black. They're immediately deemed as evil.
This man is talking about running for a 3rd term. Now, what do you think about that?
The third term, for me, absolutely not. I think it's at the end of these 4 years, it's time to move on.
This is a prime example of him trolling people because people have said, like, oh, if he gets in the office, he's going to be a dictator. He's going to try to run for a third term. So he's like, okay, y'all think I'm going to do that? I'm going to mess with y'all and say this to take y'all out.
I thought you loved this man because he's so authentic and he's such a truth teller.
But you need to know the difference between somebody trolling somebody, and this is a prime example of him being a troll.
If you had to do it all over again, would you vote for Donald Trump again, yes or no?
Yes, I would. Now, in the future, I am not a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican. If there were a Democratic candidate who was more aligned for me, then I would vote Democrat.
If you go back in time, would you vote for Donald Trump, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I might know the answer on this thing.
She said yes.
And so I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there. The truth of the matter is, you see it. A lot of people who voted for Trump are pleased with what they are seeing. A lot of people were incredibly disheartened by what was happening on the border. A lot of people were really upset about what was happening with the economy, and were, disheartened by this or the Biden administration in regards to how that affected us as a whole, even with, the biological males and women's sports and things of that nature. So it was a lot to unpack within the Biden administration that a lot of people, not just Black people, had a problem with. So what's interesting is that when it comes to the topic of Black voters, it's just always a point of contention, because for whatever reason, as many times as we state that we are not a monolith, when it comes to politics, it's almost ingrained that you're supposed to be voting Democrat, which is always so interesting to me, because as a Black community as a whole, we're incredibly diverse with regard to our views. You obviously have very conservative Blacks who believe in the nuclear family structure, but then you have others who are pro LGBTQ and things of that nature. You have Black people who are Christians, some who are Muslim, others who practice, African spiritual modalities. You have so many different variables within the Black community. Why is it that when it comes to politics and you walk off that Democratic plantation, that it's a problem? You're told you're a coon, or you're a sellout, or you're XYZ. And I don't understand that. And the truth of the matter is, I agree somewhat with the lady on the end whose husband was a cop, where she said, I'm tired of Black people complaining about the way things are, but at the same time, not doing anything different to make it better or change it. And so, at the end of the day, you have to sit back and realize that everything that we fought for came from some level of dissension, came from some level of straying from status quo in order to make change, in order to bring about necessary progress. And I think that this past election was a stepping stone in that direction. You had so many Black people stepping away from the Democrats who refused to vote for Kamala, a lot refused to vote for Trump. But at the same time, it was a stance that was taken that no matter if I voted Republican, independent, or I didn't vote at all, I'm not going to continue to allow the Democrats to control this community, control this government, and have negative implications on our community, especially when it came to that immigration. Chicago, Denver, parts of New York, so many parts of America were really, really impacted negatively by this immigration, or that Biden immigration system. You saw all these commercials about Kamala and Biden boasting Bidenomics, but Bidenomics really had people in a bad place financially. And so, based on the fact that everything was very, very difficult under the Biden administration, it would be almost obscene, in my opinion, to continue to vote for the Democrats. Now, I get it. There's a lot of people who were not going to vote for Trump and they stayed home. And to me, that's good enough. I'm not one of those people that's like, you have to vote or else. Like, listen, if you're not in support of either of them, you have the right to vote and you have the right to stay home. And so I think as a culture, we have to understand that whether it was civil rights, whether it was the bus boycotts, no matter what the scenario was, we had to stand up and do something different in order to bring about necessary change, in order to bring about progress. And if we continued to just allow Democrats to be in power, allow Democrats to continue to push legislation for every other Democrat except ours, and continue to feed feed us lies and broken promises, then we were going to be in the same position, 10, 20, 30 years from now. And at some point in time, the buck has to stop. You've got to take a stand for something or you'll fall for anything. And we're already behind the curve on so many different levels in terms of education, economics, housing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, this was a changing of the guards, and it was necessary. And we know our power as Black people. We know our power as Black voters, and we need to take a stand. Now, what tomorrow brings in regards to what this next presidential election will be, I don't know. But at the same time, what I do know is that Black consciousness is rising. That's one. Two, this social media game is becoming more and more powerful because legacy media for so long has pushed a narrative, and now we have an opportunity to dig that out and dig in that and say, wait a minute, that's not entirely right, and give another voice to the listeners, which is incredible. And so, Black people right now, we are staying out of the chaos. We are staying out of, everything that's happening in terms of this political landscape. As he said, how do you feel about them, taking down historical facts and things of that nature that represent Black culture? And he said, it's disheartening, but at the same time, I don't care, because at the end of the day, I got to feed my kids. And that's what I've said in multiple other videos, that these things are symbolism, So if you want to be bound to a photograph or bound to, a yellow Black Lives Matter sign on a street, then yeah, you're never going to get anywhere. If you say, okay, you can do that, whatever, but what are you actually doing to affect my pockets? What are you actually doing that's going to negatively affect how my kids are educated? What are you doing to negatively affect whether or not my safety is compromised? And thus far, none of that has occurred, and I'm thankful and I'm grateful. But under the Biden administration and with Kamala, it would have been a hell of a lot worse. And I can guarantee you that. And so what say you? What is your opinion? Because based on all of these people that Van just interviewed, they don't have no regrets. Ain't no buyer's remorse. So everything that the Democrats are saying in terms of, you got all these people who voted for Trump and they're saddened, they're disheartened. Again, the numbers don't lie. The polls ain't showing that. A lot of people have been unsettled with regards to what's happening with these tariffs, but that's going to come out. The man, ain't even been in office a whole year. Ain't even been in office 6 months. We had 4 years of chaos under Biden. And I am one of those people who totally believe that if Kamala had gotten that seat, we would be in a very, very sad, dark place. Black people specifically. But again, I want to know your opinion. Get in those comments and tell me what you think about these Black voters that said if we had to vote again tonight, we would vote exactly the same. Do you support that vote? Or do you think, we got it wrong? So please, again, if you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, share and like with anybody who you think would love this commentary. Again, my name is Andrea Banu, and this is the Community Ledger. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and watch the next video by clicking right here.